Hello and welcome back to Tallish Thickish. If you're new here, I'm Sarah, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. Today I have for you a small BuffBunny Collection haul. I have several items they recently launched in their Poshnit material, and I'm really excited to go through them with you. A couple reviews back, I had mentioned that I wasn't sure I wanted to dedicate too much time to BuffBunny Collection on my channel because I wasn't finding that the brand was as inclusive as advertised. And just like with Honor Active, I have changed my mind and I'm going to let you in on why that is. There's two main reasons why I'm willing to make space for BuffBunny Collection on this channel again, and they're not positive ones, so I'm just going to cut right to the chase. The first reason is I feel like this brand and some of their affiliates are willing to mislead you, and the reason why that's bothersome for me is they don't have free returns. So you do have to pay a small fee in order to qualify for free returns, but if you're paying for a fee, the return really isn't free. And if there's any cost in order to have free returns, then I feel like marketing should be a lot more honest, and affiliates should be more considerate when giving their perspective on products. I am willing to be the different opinion in the room when it comes to this brand. So I guess long story short is I just feel like there was a little bit too much hype going into some of these products and into how they function. And I feel like it's forgotten that there's a cost to the customer for buying into marketing that is potentially misleading. Now, the second reason I decided to bring you these reviews again is, to be completely honest, as a customer, I'm a little PO'd. I had a recent experience with a delayed package, and when I reached out to customer service about the issue, I had some back and forth, and repeatedly they kind of gave me a runaround and made it really clear that they didn't care about my concern. And even with all the information they presented to me, at the end of the day, my package was significantly delayed and there was absolutely no apology from customer service. And sometimes an apology can go a long way. As a general rule with customer service, if you tick off a customer enough, they will make time to let you know. And so I guess that's essentially why I'm willing to bring you these reviews again. But as always, I will do my best to be fair and honest. I never intend on being negative, but I also want to be cautious and not overhyping a product's quality or its functionality. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this review. So as I mentioned before, all of the items in today's review are in the Poshnit material. And if you have watched my BuffBunny Collection reviews in the past, you know I am a really big fan of their fabric quality. Poshnit is definitely up there with some of my favorites from this brand, if not my absolute favorite. I was really excited when I saw that they had a small launch coming that was exclusively Poshnit. Let me take a couple minutes and talk about this fabric with you. So this is a 70% nylon, 30% spandex material. It does have a lot of stretch to it while having a good amount of density, and it has a very nice suede-like finish to it. It is double brushed. That being said, it does collect lint and pet hair. I have a light shedder in the house and it's really not too bad or too noticeable, but if you have a heavy shedder, that is something to know. On the website, there's a detail about this being made from sweat wicking yarn. I will say it does keep me decently cool in the gym, considering that it does have a little thicker feel to it. It is breathable, however, sweat marks do show through. This is listed as medium compression, and I think that really depends on the item that we're talking about and also who we're talking to. I think if you're used to compressive, seamless fits, you're not going to find these very compressive at all. I think it's one of the more compressive materials from this brand, but overall, I would still say that this is more on the low to medium compression side of the scale. One of my favorite things about the Poshnit material is that I have not noticed any kind of pilling. I feel like the material does hold up pretty well. I have a couple of bodysuits in the Poshnit material, and I like to wear those when I'm playing disc golf in these cooler months. And I've noticed that it's a layer that does a decent job at keeping me warmer. And even though I've walked through some brush and those bodysuits have taken a little bit of outdoor abuse, the material has still held up really well. Like I said, I'm a really big fan of the Poshnit material. And so automatically, I'm going to tell you that if the fit is right in the pieces that it comes in, I think it's definitely worth trying. I feel like the price tags are very reasonable for the Poshnit items compared to what I've seen out there for the brush everyday use category. I know that's a lot, but I think that covers everything for the Poshnit material. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comments below. And let's go ahead and move into this first outfit. I will just review my measurements. So I am 5'9". I have a 31-inch inseam. I am about 44 inches around the bust, 37.5 inches around the waist, and 47.5 inches around the hips. And normally I wear a 38D in bras. This first outfit I have for you features the Poshnit waist tank and the Poshnit straight legs. And I will go ahead and start with the tank, and then I'll move the camera down and we will talk about the straight legs. So this Poshnit tank is in a size XXL. If you've seen my BuffBunny Collection reviews, you know that I've had trouble with their sports bras and they tend to be a little bit too tight for me. So I just decided to size up to an XXL in this waist tank. Also, this tank reminds me a lot of one of my favorite pieces from Honor Active, which is their Timeless tank, which is also mid-length. And I just found in that I really appreciated my size up. I do have a lot of length in the cup area. As you can see, this band can kind of come below where my rib cage starts. So I have a lot of room in the shelf area that I don't necessarily need, but I like that I avoid the extra compression with sizing up. I am curious to see how an extra large would fit me, but at the same time, the band here does have a lot of compression to it, which is great because that means it's going to offer more support, but I do fear that an extra large would be a little bit too tight for my liking. Since I did size up to an XXL, I'm also getting a little bit more than a waist length, and again, I think that's just because of it's my larger size. This is coming just below my belly button. I also think it looks cute the way I had it on in the intro, and since I am a girly with a short torso, I'm gonna have a tendency to tuck it up like that, so I think it's still cute just like that. And the nice thing is this material is pretty light compression, especially in a larger size, so I'm not getting any kind of squeezing. I mentioned that I really like the Timeless tanks from Honor Active, but one of the things that I haven't enjoyed about those tanks is how compressive they can be throughout, and this is such a comfortable fit. This is definitely my new favorite activewear item. I'll turn around and we'll talk about the back. The back of BuffBunny Collection tops and sports bras has also been something that's been an issue for me in the past, and I am so happy to say that finally I have something that isn't too bad across my back. So we do have adjustable straps that cross in the back, and I do need to play around with these straps a little bit more because on my wide lats I still do feel them. I have noticed that I can use the adjustment and get a very comfortable fit across my back, so I'm very pleased with that. I think it's really cute, this little detailing here, and I'm sure you would see more of that cross in the back if I was wearing my smaller size. I still feel like these straps could be closer together to make the fit even more comfortable for somebody like me, but I'm thrilled that this works and it is comfortable enough for me to want to invest in more of them. While I'm turned around, I'll go ahead and start talking about how functional I think this piece is. Those straps stay in place, they do not roll, and they are not getting in the way of any kind of movement. Let's go ahead and take a look at the level of support. So I would say that that's about a medium, but again, I'm not super busty and I can get away with medium support tops. So a top like this is actually perfect for somebody like me. This is a top that can be worn all day. It truly is very comfortable, whether you are lounging around at home, whether you're at the gym. These straps are not going to get tight on your shoulders over time because again, they're adjustable. I love a top that's a one and done that has the built-in sports bra with plenty of support. One thing I almost forgot to mention are the cut pads. I'm not the biggest fan of BuffBunny Collection cut pads. They're really large and they're just kind of flimsy. What's nice is they have started to try to match them to the activewear pieces, which is great, but I feel like they're often too big for the space that we're putting them in, especially because they're not shaped. So I currently have Honor Active cut pads in. Huge detail there, I'm so sorry, I almost forgot. Obviously, I would have just a little bit less support if I were to take them out, but I think that we have a decent amount of coverage that even without the cut pads, I'm still going to get a medium amount of support, and I don't have to worry about anything falling out when I don't want it to. So in summary, Poshnit waist tank, this retails for $48, and I think it's every bit worth that. I definitely plan on purchasing as many colors as I can, and I already have. So I will put in some color comparisons for you all. I did get the baked blue color, which is kind of a nice washed navy color. And then if you don't have azul in your collection, I really would look out for pieces that you like, and I would maybe start with the waist tank because this is just super cute. You can transition this color into all seasons, but absolutely love azul and think this is definitely a piece worth trying if you don't have that color in your collection. And then we have Miami Vice. This is really similar to Velvet Pink from Honor Active. I do want to compare this pink to some of the other BuffBunny Collection pinks that I have because they like bright, loud pinks, but they don't really go together. And I'm struggling a little bit with that. I'm really excited to wear this with some jean shorts in the summer. That is definitely going to be one of my go-to looks. So again, heavily recommend the Poshnit waist tanks. I'm going to move the camera down and then we will talk about these straight legs that I have on. All right, so we have the Poshnit straight legs and these retail for $70 and I am wearing an extra large long. And let's go ahead and talk about how these are fitting. So these are going to be in my larger size. I reached for an extra large because in the Poshnit flares that I enjoy wearing, the extra large is the appropriate size, but the waistband and the whole fit is completely different. So I'm not entirely sure if I should be sizing down. I'll show you why I'm hesitant. So this is the pair in gray. And I'm hoping you can see how that waistband has that dip in the front. I'm not too sure why BuffBunny Collection is just so set on having some kind of dip in their waistband, but it seems to be something that they are currently obsessed with. And it doesn't really work for me. So you can see that this also has quite a bit of a taper to it. For gals such as myself that are a little bit more boxy, it makes it really hard to size down. I'll put these on for you. I feel like these are too big. I just don't think I could size down in the waistband. I am returning that gray pair. They are a lot stretchier. The black pair is a lot more compressive. And so I decided to keep these and give them a try so I could report back. It seems like everybody's kind of determined to come out with a straight leg. And I did pick up some of Paragon, so stay tuned for that in a separate review. But right off the bat, I'm just really not a fan of the waistband. I forgot to point out the seams on the side too. Hopefully you can see that. I don't really like the way that they swoop in. I feel like that looks very odd on my frame. I would have much preferred a seam that just goes straight up along with a waistband that is just straighter across. But at least this is comfortable. It's not really flattering in my opinion, but it is pretty comfortable. It is a high rise. I wouldn't say it's ultra high rise because I can't fold it over. So I would say it's a solid high rise compared to the other straight legs I have tried on this channel, the Soft Motion from Honor Active and the Bare straight legs from Petula. I will say I get a lot less bunching in this area. And one of the other reasons why I decided to size up to the XL is that in my experience with BuffBunny Collection, they're not really thick thigh friendly. And I wanted to make sure I had plenty of room for my quads. I am pretty pleased that I sized up and I'm still getting minimal bunching in the front because I feel like you're just going to get that with a straight leg no matter what. I really like the length on the long here. I will measure that and put that information for you on the screen. But when I am standing without shoes, they touch the floor. When I wear shoes, they're just above the floor. So if you're around my height, it's a really good length. I'll turn around and we'll talk about the back. One of the issues I've had with the other straight legs I have tried is with the back seam. A lot of times it rides up and it gets super uncomfortable and all up in my business. And I am happy to report that I am not feeling any of that. I feel like I'm getting plenty of glute separation, but I am not getting any discomfort. This seam back here is not really elasticated. It does have some give to it, but it's not elasticated. And I think that's why it does its job without being uncomfortable. So I love to see that. I will go ahead and do a quick squat and RDL test for you. This is black, so you would hope it does not shear out. All right, after doing those, I will show you my waistband. So we got a little bit of rolling down, nothing too drastic, nothing too crazy. It didn't annoy me, which is honestly surprising to me because when I wore these for my workout, I was having issues with the waistband. The waistband seems like it's staying in place better. This is probably my second or third wear, so just something to keep in mind is that it may take a couple of wears before it stays in place, but we love a waistband that stays in place. When it comes to function, I don't know if I personally would be reaching for the Poshnit straight legs again. I just think that one, I look better in flares, and two, I run into some static issues with the straight legs that I don't run into with the flares. I wore these for a deadlift day, so I was doing V-stance RDLs, regular RDLs, and sumo deadlifts, and I did get some static that was a little distracting and a little annoying when I wore these, but I don't get that when I wear the Poshnit flares. And honestly, I just don't think these are as cute on me as the flares are. I think the fit is just not for me. That being said, since every activewear brand is trying to come out with the straight legs for your money, this is the best quality, and I feel like this is probably the best fit that I've seen. If this front area doesn't bother you, then I would keep your eye out on the BuffBunny Collection straight legs. All right, I'm going to do a quick change and pull the camera back up, and we will talk about the sports bra. Next up, we have the Poshnit sports bra. And to be completely honest, this is the very first time I am putting this on. This is in my true size extra large. I had ordered an XXL and an XL in this because I assumed this was going to be too tight for me. And I'm really glad to say that I was wrong. The XL is very comfortable in this bottom band, and this gives me hope that I would be able to size down to an XL in the tank that I just reviewed for you. So right off the bat with the fit, we are off to a good start. We have about the same amount of coverage, so about medium coverage. It's not anything that you're gonna have to worry about falling out of. And just like with the tank top, there are adjustable straps, and they're very similar straps, so they don't roll. Very comfortable. I made no adjustments to this out of the package. I feel these straps under my shoulder blades here, but they're not by any means uncomfortable. One of the other areas of discomfort I have had with BuffBunny sports bras and tops is right around this armpit area, and I am again happy to say that this falls in a really nice place where I don't feel too much compression even in my true size. And just like with the tank, I don't have any digging or any discomfort on my traps, and I do have some big traps. I have the cut pads that came with the sports bra in, so let's do a quick jump test and see where we're at. So again, about a medium amount of compression coupled with the coverage. I think it's a really great option. Really happy with this Poshnit sports bra. This retails for $44, and for me it hits every single mark when it comes to fabric quality, when it comes to a comfortable fit, and when it comes to a functional fit. I think this is a really great option. I am returning this, and it's a hard decision to make, but for me, the $4 difference is worth it to get the tank top because I can wear the tank top in and out of the gym, and I can also wear it when I'm just lounging around in the house. So I just feel like I'm gonna get a little bit more use out of the waist tank than the sports bra. But if you are more of a sports bra girl, I say you cannot go wrong here, and to keep your eye out for more of these. I'm very pleasantly surprised and happy with this fit, which is not how I feel about the next item that we have. Up next is the Poshnit Scrunch bodysuit. Last fit for you, I have the Poshnit Scrunch bodysuit in a size extra large in the color lipstick red. And if you watched my other bodysuit review for BuffBunny Collection, you know I absolutely loved the Poshnit bodysuits, and I was really excited to purchase another one until I opened my package and I saw the modifications. So the one modification that I like is that there is more length in the inseam on this bodysuit. So that's great for somebody like me that's tall, but this only comes in one length. So if you are somebody who's on the short side, that might not be so great for you. But for my taller girlies, that's great news. The other modification that they made in the fit is obviously the scrunch. So So before, there was not a scrunch in the back, and I honestly don't think that there's a need for it. I think it was plenty flattering before, but I will say that this is very comfortable. I'm not feeling any kind of digging. The scrunch is not a reason why I'm returning it, but I also don't think that the bodysuit needs it. Ultimately, it comes down to the seams that they added. So they did make some adjustments to the seam in the back, and I honestly feel like it just makes it less flattering. I'm hoping you can see that, but I just feel like it looks funkier. I think it looked better the way it was before when it was just cleaner in the back. While I'm turned around, I'll talk about how the rest of this is fitting. I do feel more comfortable in the straps than I remember feeling in my other Poshnit bodysuits. And again, these are adjustable. They're made just like the other straps from the tops I've tried on for you. Very comfortable across the back. I just don't like the seam detailing, and I also don't like the seam detailing that they made in the front. On my last BuffBunny Collection review, somebody wasn't too sure what I meant by a prioritization in aesthetics rather than inclusivity or in function, and I feel like the seam detailing is a really great example of that. I don't know how this seam helps with performance. It doesn't help with the fit, but it does make this less inclusive, and I'm guessing it was just put on there for an aesthetic reason. So I hope that that clarifies what I mean by I feel like sometimes this brand prioritizes aesthetic over inclusivity or function. But now that this seam is there, and I feel really weird about where to put it on my torso, I'm not sure if I should have it up here. If so, then I have some extra fabric on the side here that looks funky. I don't know if it's supposed to go down here with my hips, and then I kind of have some excess fabric in the crotch area. I am just not too sure what to do with this seam. It really aggravates me that it's there because I would be keeping this if it wasn't. If you have maybe a longer torso, or if you found that the Miracle bodysuits worked well for you, then maybe this will be a good option. But for somebody who's got a short torso like me that also isn't going to know what to do with this seam, I would steer clear of this item. It retails for $70. I think if the fit is right for you, the function is absolutely there. Again, it's a durable material. This is something that you can wear on a lot of different occasions. So I think it's got a lot of use, again, if the fit works well for you and if you can get along with this seam detailing in the front. Another positive adjustment I think they made is in the front here. I think that they added a little bit more coverage. It's not excessive, it's not coming into my armpit, but I do feel like my boobs are covered more than they were in the other Poshnit bodysuits. And then I get a little bit more compression. So we're back at like about a medium compression, just like the other tops, and I love to see that. So definitely another positive change. All right, I really hope I covered everything for you. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you're interested in any of these pieces that I reviewed for you and which ones. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this seam detailing. Am I overthinking it? Is it something that I just think looks bad on me? What are your thoughts on this detailing here? If you found this review helpful or you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button. It really goes a long way. It really helps my channel, and that will enable me to bring you more reviews in the future. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next review.